Did you recently watch some movies with cool underwater scene? And you were wondering how the hell they placed the camera and the entire crew on the bottom of the ocean? Well, you came to the right place. Hello everyone, Alexander from secondunit.net here, and today it's time for another super crazy tutorial about creating some amazing motion graphic titles inside the After Effects. This is the animation that we'll be creating today. This is going to be a fast, straightforward tutorial about creating this underwater title from scratch. Again, you should be aware that this is the tutorial for medium knowledge users of the After Effects, so I will not spend too much time explaining some basic stuff. I will not cover all the tools or effects used in this tutorial. Rather than that, I will focus just on the process of creating this title and try to keep this process clean, simple and fast, so you can hopefully understand the procedure from start to finish. We will create the entire title design in After Effects, and we will do that just with the basic After Effects plugins. Within the project files, which I'll include with this tutorial, you will find Trapcode Particular effects also added, but this is optional. If you don't have this plugin, just ignore the warning when you open the project files for this tutorial. By following this tutorial from start to the end, you can learn how to use some of the great After Effects plugins, such as Fractal Noise and the Displacement Map. So, without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, first let's create new composition with the name Underwater Title. Full HD composition, 10-second length. Okay, now inside of this composition, right mouse click, new solid, and make comp size, and let's use the name background for this solid. So we will go to the effects, generate, and gradient ramp, radial, and let's choose some colors for this. Something like pale blue and black. Okay. So let's create fast 3 folders. Render comps. Don't touch. Change files here. So let's reorganize them. Let's move some files. Okay, so now let's build some elements. Import files. And let's import some files that we use inside this project. So let's create folder with name image. So select the images and insert them inside the folder, and then move the folder inside don't touch folder. Let's create composition. Rename it ocean bottom. Okay. So let's create another folder. Comps. And let's pull this folder inside the don't touch folder. Now let's select ocean button and insert this composition inside the main composition underwater title 1080p. Now let's create a camera. Let's use some preset for the camera, 28mm. Okay. Now we have create the camera, and let's create null object. Camera controls. Okay, now we create the camera and camera control. Let's select the camera control and transfer this layer to 3D layer. And now let's parent the camera to the camera control. Let's go to the transform, position, and let's add a key. Then go to the 0 and let's create some movement for the camera. Let's select the ocean button and let's scale it down. Let's go to the end of the timeline and let's move the camera slightly. Let's select the background and duplicate. And now let's pre-comp this by holding the Ctrl, Shift and C to pre-comp. Let's name it foam. Let's delete the effect, go inside the foam and then select the layer and go to the effect. Let's find the effect, press it, and let's now find foam. So let's go to the effect and find the simulation and find foam effect. Let's edit some option for this. Let's change the particle rate. Bubble size 0.07. Size variance 0.7. Lifespan 1000. Now let's choose the view to render. So we get the final result for the foam, and let's take a look. Maybe we can increase the producer X size, 0.3 maybe. Maybe even 0.5. Let's see again. Okay, so we have some cute little bubbles inside the ocean. Let's reduce the rate to 0.20. So it looks really nice now, and let's move on. So let's close everything and let's go inside the main composition. Rearrange the layers. Let's move the foam layer So let's also scale the layer a little bit, like this, so we can move on. Let's go to the color correction, tint, and now let's go to color correction again and choose levels. Now let's adjust the levels for this layer. Now let's reduce the white. So let's duplicate background layer, rearrange again, and get to the noise, fractal noise. So now we will adjust some values. Dynamic progressive. Let's choose invert. We will leave everything else. Maybe now we can animate offset turbulence. Add the keys. Let's offset this value like this. So we have some movement. So let's animate the evolution. Something like this. Let's rename the layer caustic. Okay. Let's reduce the transparency for this, opacity to 15, like this. So we have something like this. Okay, let's move on. So let's open the images and let's choose the dirt layer and let's pre-compose it. So we have white dirt on the black background. Particle ocean. Let's drop this composition inside the main composition also. Create 3D layer and let's add motion blur for all the layers. So now let's position the particle ocean layer, scale it and position it perfectly, like this. The idea is to duplicate and create several of these particles and position them through the z-axis and create some parallax effect for these particles in the ocean. So we create several duplications for the particle ocean layer and we scale them and let's rotate them now so we can create more random look. Something like this. And now let's select every one of them and reduce the opacity 10, for example. And let's add screen mode to them. Okay, let's move on. Let's choose the concrete now. Let's create composition. Change text here. And now inside this change text here composition, we will create some text. Under water. That's it. Okay. Let's choose Helvetica. All caps. And let's go to the align window and then let's position this layer to the center of this composition like this. Okay, so we have underwater. Change the font to the black and let's pre-compose this composition and let's rename it to the textured. So we have change text here inside the texture composition. Now let's select the concrete and let's drop it inside the texture composition. Let's scale it down. And now select alpha mate. So now the texture layer use the change text here for this alpha value and create text with the texture on it. Let's pre-compose texture composition now and let's rename it. So we have animated text. Okay, let's select and import the background inside the animated text composition and let's create some mask for this background layer. And let's animate this mask. Something like this. Let's turn transparency. So now we will duplicate and move this and scale it, something like this. So duplicate again, move, scale it, position it, and again Control D to duplicate, move, and again scale and position it. Okay, something like this. Select everything, Control Shift and C to pre-compose. Give this composition a name, mask text. Now we will open this composition, so just select everything, U key on the keyboard to reveal the keyframes, and let's just move the keyframes around so we can create some more random look for the animation. I'm just selecting and moving the layers like this so we can get more random look. Now let's select some second keys and move them also. And let's go back. Let's close this composition, and now let's go to the stylize roughen edges. Let's slightly adjust the values. Now we have this kind of animation. Now let's reorganize the layers and let's select alpha mate for this. So let's close everything. And now select the text and drop it inside the underwater title main composition. So let's save the project now. Let's name it underwater title. Okay, let's create new light and let's select the color. The color will be something white bluish. Hit OK and let's move the position of this layer. Like this. So hit the P to reveal the position for this layer and let's animate the keyframe. At this point, let's move it closely to the ground, like this. And at the end, just slowly forward and let's hit easy ease. Okay, let's select the camera and keyframe assistant. Easy is the first keyframe. Okay, so we have something like this. Now let's select caustic and go to the edit, duplicate. And let's rename this to displacement map. Okay, now let's go to the pre-compose, displace map. Open this composition, effects, effect control, and now in the fractal noise, turn 3D layer off and reset everything. Let's turn off the keyframes for offset turbulence, so we have only evolution animated. Let's insert the new adjustment layer. Let's rename it to the displace. And now let's go to the effect, distort, displacement map. Let's choose the displacement map for this and luminance, luminance again. And now let's turn off the displacement map layer and add screen. Let's duplicate the background layer. Again, let's rename it to the particles. And select the delete gradient ramp and go to the Trapcode Particular. Let's go to the box. Let's increase the size for this. Velocity to 10, or maybe even, let's take 10. Okay, so to 10. Let's animate the particles, so we will add the key to the particles per second. Let's go to the pre-run and go to 100. And after that, let's reduce the particles to 50. And let's adjust the size also, size random. So we have lots of particles inside the ocean. Let's set this to 45 maybe even. Let's increase the emitter size like this. Sphere feather to 100. And let's adjust the colors also. Apply some presets for the size and opacity overlap. Let's duplicate the particles. Now delete the effect and go to the effect and search for flare. Let's choose 105 millimeters prime. Let's move the position for the flare center. Let's animate the flare center position. And now we will create also, let's go to the blur and sharpen and fast box blur, and let's blur this lens flare. And let's change the mode to the add mode. Let's go to the camera settings, focus distance, add the key. Let's edit these values, increase them. Maybe even 150. 200 for this. And now we have something like this. Let's add adjustment layer. Move it to the top and change it to adjust. And now let's add some final adjustments for this entire composition. So first, curves. We will adjust them to make small contrast on this. After that, let's go to the noise and grain, add grain to create some grain. Let's fast add some grain and then go to the blur and sharpen, and then add the value of 2 and move it on the top of the add grain. And now when we render this, it looks like this. I hope you have learned now how to create this kind of animation. I include the project files for this tutorial so you can use them to practice. You can find a link below in the description. All you have to do is visit secondunit.net and download the project files on tutorial page. Also, on secondunit.net you can find a lot of pre-made, beautiful projects that you can purchase at bargain price. And that is also a great way to support this channel. I hope this video helped you in some way or the other. If it did, make sure you give us a like. And don't forget to subscribe. Also, ring a bell so you might get any future tips, tricks or tutorials. Please feel free to leave a comment with a suggestion what would be the next thing that you would like for me to cover. Also, you can find me at the Patreon and join the community of the nice, amazing people that's supporting this channel, helping keep this channel free for everybody forever. Thank you so much for your support. Thanks for watching. I see you guys in the next one. Until then, stay tuned and make sure that you keep creating. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.